Hi, my name is Swapan Seth and you're watching Sethoscope. Paris happens to be one of my favorite cities, not because I'm a huge romantic at heart, but purely because I think it's an extremely eclectic city and caters to many of my hobbies and many of my tastes. I typically stay at the Four Seasons in Paris while I'm there. It's a charming hotel, it has the most beautiful flowers in the world, and the service is absolutely impeccable. And they also have a very charming store at the ground floor of the hotel, which has some very, very fine things that they stock. Breakfast to me is invariably a loaf of bread that I actually have delivered to my hotel room from this charming bakery in Paris called Pierre. And if it's not that, then I often take a taxi and hit Café de Flore, which has some of the most amazing scrambled eggs, unarguably one of the finest coffees in Paris. And even though people talk glowingly about the coffee in Paris, I've come to the conclusion that it's not particularly fascinating as far as coffee is concerned. With that out of the way, I go to this charming bookstore called Assouline. And Assouline has got some wonderful design books, but what they also have are brilliant candles. And in particular, two candles that particularly seem attractive to me is one is called the Havana candle, which replicates the fragrance of a nice cigar. And the other is actually a paper candle, which replicates the smells of books, both of which I like very much. Having done with Assouline, I then proceed to a macaroon store called Pierre Hermé. And even though the world rather glowingly talks about La Doury in Paris, my personal perspective is that as far as macarons are concerned, no one really compares with Pierre Hermé. After Pierre Hermé's store, I pop into my favorite shirt maker, Charvet. Charvet is at the Palais Vendôme and has unarguably one of the finest collections of both shirts and pocket squares, so I stock up on that. After which I actually go up to this little hole-in-the-wall store for shoes called Corthay. Once again, unknown to very many people, Corthay makes bespoke leather shoes, absolutely fantastic, with very, very fine patinas and very, very fine designs. After that, it's normally lunch, and as you well know, I'm a complete desi, and it's impossible for me to spend a day in any part of the world without having my kebabs and my dal and my gobi aloo. So there's a great restaurant just next to the Four Seasons in Paris called Rathan. And Rathan has some outstanding pappers and some fantastic food. So lunch for me is invariably at Rathan's. They know me, I know them, it works perfectly well. After lunch, I normally pop into an art gallery, and the gallery to go to actually is a gallery called the Marian Goodman Gallery in Paris, which has some fantastic work, and in particular has a lot of video work, which is pretty enthralling. Until it is, of course, the evening. The only exception that I make is actually in Paris, where I visit this splashy nightclub called Mandala Ray, which is actually owned by Sean Penn and Johnny Depp. It's a very, very cool, hip, hangout kind of a place. They have some fantastic cocktails, they've got some great music. So I pop in, have a drink, generally look around, see what's going on. So typically I then head back to the hotel and order in-room dining, and that for me is a typically wonderfully spent day in Paris.